Okay, I'm going to talk you through the steps I would take to finish off this portrait image in photo. So the first thing I always do is I duplicate the background layer and uncheck the bottom one. This gives me an original copy of the image to refer to and compare and contrast with. So then the next step is to remove or reduce the lines and blemishes in the model's face. So to do this, we'll use frequency separation. So I'll go ahead, the default settings are fine, click apply, and this will split our working layer into two different frequency layers. So then the easiest part first, what I like to do is turn off the high frequency layer, select the low frequency layer, then go in with the blemish removal tool. And there are two ways you can use this tool. You can just simply click in an area and photo will sample from the surrounding area to try and remove the blemish. The other option is you can click and drag, and you can actually select the area to sample. So we'll just go around the image using a combination of these two techniques. Okay, then the next step is to move over to the healing brush tool. And we're going to tidy up all the lines on the model's face using this. So we alt-click to define an area to copy from. And then we can simply go over the problematic areas. So eventually we'll end up with a much flatter looking area, but here's where we can turn the high frequency layer back on, and we've still got all this texture around the face here. So we can remove all the unwanted areas without the final result looking like a blurry waxwork figurine. So just turn the high frequency layer back off. We'll continue, but this time I'll take the hardness of the brush down to tackle these softer areas here. So basically we're just gradually erasing these lines by sampling surrounding areas of the skin, the low frequency layer. And while we're here, we can also reduce some of the blemishing around the skin as well. Exactly the same technique to reduce the lines around the eyes. Okay, and then right down here, there's a spot on the neck that we can just go over once again with the healing brush tool just to remove it. And then when you zoom out, sometimes this can help you to get a better impression of any areas you might have missed. Okay, so at this point, we'll go ahead and turn the high frequency layer back on. And then in order to reduce the lines on the high frequency layer, we'll actually go and use the in-painting brush tool. And I'll just bring the hardness back up. And because removing high frequency detail, if we just have a look at it on its own here, it's incredibly difficult to do whilst maintaining its clarity. A lot of the time you can end up blurring it and it looks very noticeable. But the in-painting brush is able to go over these areas whilst keeping them sharp. Okay, so then if I go ahead and check the original background pixel layer, and then I select these two frequency layers and uncheck them, we can see just how much work we've done. So by making modifications separately to the high and low frequency layers, we've managed to remove all of these little imperfections in the skin without losing that vital texture. One thing I'll go ahead and tackle here is the dreaded dry skin around the mouth. So I'll use the healing brush tool for this, and we basically just want to sample adjacent areas around the lips and mouth, working in very small detail here. Okay, so that's our frequency separation work done. Next step is I'll go in and activate the quick mask mode. Then using the paintbrush tool, just paint a selection around the model's eyes, like so. Come out of quick mask mode, then go in and add a recolor adjustment. Thankfully, it's not staying like this. We'll just try and give the eyes a bit of a jade color. That involves changing the hue slider and reducing the saturation. And then, on top of that, we'll set the blend mode to overlay. And just adjust to taste. Then we'll add a curves adjustment. And I prefer to switch over to the lab color format and just work on lightness. Until we get the result we're after. Then just to round it off, we'll add an HSL adjustment and just bring the saturation up a tiny bit, just to add a bit of warmth and glow to the image. So there we go. That's typically what I do with portrait imagery. Hopefully that's given you some ideas for your own workflow. If you have any questions or queries, please do ask on the Affinity forums. Thank you for watching.